Good day, YouTubers. Welcome back. How did you survive the great blackout of 2021, the great Facebook blackout? I'm Joseph Magi, author of Playing Card Divination, Fortune Telling the Magi Method. Find the book worldwide on Amazon and Kindle and paperback versions. Find the full color card deck used here on Etsy/Magi Method. Many thanks to the generous folks who buy me a cup of tea. I love tea. I actually exclusively drink tea at this point. Please feel free to like, share, subscribe, and comment. So that was plus 5 hours offline. I think it primarily affected North America. It's really strange, that would occur. They have hundreds and probably thousands of servers worldwide, and for all of North America to go out. I mean, I'm a finance guy, but it would seem to me that all of those servers would have to go down or something like that. That's crazy. I initially thought that something was wrong with my internet connection. I thought that my computer was not connecting properly to the internet, so I restarted my computer a couple of times, and then I realized everything was working except for Facebook. There was also a whistleblower who was testifying on that day. Very strange coincidence, and I think maybe it's not a coincidence. I also want to touch on the 10 days of darkness. There's a big conspiracy about 10 days of darkness coming, where the white hats will bring down the water, the power, the gas, and the internet. Frankly, anybody who would take down all of that for 10 days would not be favorably looked at, because a lot of people would die just from 10 days of that. So let's just take a look at what's going on with the great Facebook blackout. Just do a mini Celtic cross to begin with and see what we find. What's going on here? Then we'll dig a little deeper. Do a regular Celtic cross. So we have positions. Oh, look at that. What is going on? Hightower, the large business of Facebook. It's interesting 10 spades showed up on underneath. A disaster. Two hearts, lovers, and Hightower, and olive tree. So the olive tree, this is part of, Facebook is part of my life. I'm on Facebook now every day. I only really started getting on Facebook about 5 years ago. Before that, I was not on Facebook at all. I was not on any social media until about 5 years ago, and then I became a big user of social media. And that's because I only published this book, Playing Card Divination, a few years ago, like 4 years ago. Yeah, 3 or 4 years ago. Yeah, probably 4 years ago. And I got involved in social media because of writing a book. I published a book, and I needed to learn, and it's all on Facebook, and then I learned about all the social media stuff. So I'm very late to the game. But the Hightower and olive tree, Facebook is really, really a part of everybody's life. It's very ingrained, and we have lots of personal relationships over Facebook, and that's the issue. 15, 17, 5 hearts. Yeah. Hamster wheel. This is a work card, and it's travel over water. It could indicate that there was a problem with like a connection from far away. Player is business card. Jacob's ladder. This would be like ongoing continuous service. Diamond ring. Diamond ring and 2 hearts. These are really mirroring each other in this spread. Connecting to people that we care about. People and events is heart. Interesting. Hopes and fears. Fears is that something much bigger is going on. The 10 days of darkness is coming. And we're going to take a look at that. Incubus, succubus. What does this mean? There's something wrong. Something is ill. And 5 clubs. We're looking. People went on Twitter. They went on Instagram. They went on Reddit. All kinds of things that I just am a Twitter user. Besides Facebook, I use Twitter. I don't use Instagram. I have an Instagram account, but I've probably lost all of my passcode information by now because I never use it because I just don't post a lot of pictures, and that's not what I'm into. So people really looked for alternatives. So what do we have here? We have people lost the close connections that they normally have. You can talk to family members, you can talk to friends, and it really made people nervous that something much bigger was going on behind the scenes. I do think something much bigger was going on behind the scenes. It's very strange that there was a whistleblower speaking on the day, exactly during the time when Facebook went down. So let's take a look at the whistleblower and Zuckerberg. Okay, Mark Zuckerberg owns Facebook. He's the creator of Facebook. Is it because of this whistleblower that everything went down? I mean, Zuckerberg is so upset he just took the whole platform down. I mean, there's a lot of people working at Facebook. It's, if Zuckerberg is upset, I don't think the whole platform would go down. So he must, I don't know. It's very strange. Let's look at the whistleblower and Zuckerberg. And the whistleblower is saying that company social media platforms are 1, harming children, 2, stoking division. Can I get an amen on that? Amen. And weakening our democracy. Can I get 2 amens on that? Wow. Stoking division, that's for sure. And weakening our democracy. Can you say George Soros? I can. Can you say Mark Zuckerberg? I can. Okay, so let's take a look at the whistleblower and Zuckerberg. Whistleblower, I mean, what's the relationship there to the great blackout, Zuckerberg? Oh my goodness. The whistleblower and Zuckerberg. Strength, ruler, 3 black birds. She was singing like a bird. She was talking, and she was talking to the rulers of our country, the people who are supposed to be running our country, and the foundational rulers of our country. She was talking to the real people in charge. 24, 27, cross. So the backbone, cross is the backbone and the rulers of our country. So she was talking to the top people, really the top people. She went all the way to the top. What's up with Zuckerberg? Devil, he's in a rage. This could mean that he is acting in a very evil way. He's trying to put a really nice face on it, and straight razor. He's very upset. Is this saying that Zuckerberg is the devil, or he's just raging? He's just very upset about the whistleblower, or is he saying that he's really up to no good? Let's see what we get here. So is Zuckerberg really up to no good with this devil, or is he just raging? Up to no good or just raging? Look at that. Interesting. Lovers, broken chalice, woman. So the good, everybody thinks so well of Facebook, okay? And it's been broken, okay? That we can trust Facebook, 12, 14, 16, 4 spades. They're hiding a bunch of stuff, and there's some really nasty things going on in there. So Zuckerberg is very, very, very upset that he's been exposed. My video went out for a minute. My batteries went out. So is Zuckerberg really up to no good, or is he just, you know, or is he just raging? He is up to no good. He is doing evil deeds, dirty deeds done dirt cheap, behind the scenes, and he doesn't want to be exposed, and he's afraid that more of his dirty deeds will be exposed, and that's quite enough. I mean, harming children, stoking division, that's for sure. Our country has never been more divided, and I'm concerned that we could have a civil war, and many people are concerned about this. And I'm also thinking that states will secede from the union of 50 states, and I think they should, because there's nothing to talk about with some of these other people anymore, and we're so divided now that I think maybe we should start dividing the country, and that's called balkanization, and weakening our democracy. So he's afraid that he's going to get further exposed, that this exposure is going to lead to more exposure. A good example of this is the audit in Arizona. They're doing an audit in Arizona, and they found all kinds of weird malfeasance, all kinds of crazy, creepy things. And if finding all those things in one state will lead other states to demand similar audits, and they'll find crazy, creepy malfeasance and all kinds of irregularities in their elections. Okay, so that's how it goes. It's a snowball effect. And that's what Zuckerberg is afraid of. So Frances Haugen has testified before the U.S. Senate, okay, against Facebook. She's a whistleblower. And those people very often end up dead. They end up just terrible. It's terrible that they're not protected. They have to be protected. But will our government finally take steps to regulate the communist fascists on social media? I would remind you that a sitting president of the United States was banned from Twitter. And he may have been banned from all of the platforms, but that is, wow, that is crazy. And I worked in government, I worked for a regulatory agency, and I'm scratching my head wondering, why have we not started regulating the social media companies? Because it's time. Now, in the beginning, they intentionally keep their hands off, and that's good so that they can grow and figure out what direction they're going to take and get strong and stronger. Well, they're really strong now. They banned a sitting U.S. president. So it's time to start regulating them. But we have, Joe Biden in office, which he would not be interested in regulating them. So will the U.S. government finally start taking steps to regulate Facebook and the other social media companies? That's government. Are we finally going to see the government start regulating? Well, this is the government. King of Spades is the government. He's like the ruler. He executes. He's the executioner. He can just make it happen. Like a judge, lawyer, master criminal, mafioso, police officer. They don't have to ask anybody. They just do it. They make decisions on the spot. What do we have here? Player, 5 hearts, reacting. Fence sitter. Boy, oh boy. They're reacting to this circumstance. This is our democracy. It's very reactive. Something happens and the people get in an uproar, and then they have to do something finally. Otherwise, they just sit there. And for the most part, it's good that, you don't want your democracy to be like California, where they're passing all kinds of stupid laws proactively. For instance, any theft under $1,000 will not be prosecuted. And so organized crime has moved into California and is just taking everything. People are just walking in and taking everything out of shops, and they're not being arrested. That's terrible. That's terrible. That's, California is going to sink into the bottom of the ocean. So they're reacting, and on this specific circumstance, they're committed to reacting, 7 and 11, 18, and monitoring this going forward. They want to keep a good environment, 9 hearts, Queen of Hearts, 9 diamonds, 10 of spades. the social media companies are devastated. Their freedom will be curtailed. They're devastated that their freedom could be curtailed. Let's see, 25, 35, 44, 53. There's 52 cards in a deck. That's Karmic Shift, Karmic Shift, which is the blue Joker. So the government can just, in an instant, change everything, completely change the playing field, and they should. It's time. It's time. So, yeah, I think this says that the U.S. government will probably start regulating, and they should, even with a Republican minority, because, again, I think the Democrats are against regulation of these companies. But even with a Republican minority, I think there's enough support to start finally regulating these companies, because they're really out of control. They're out of control. They think they're ruling the world right now, and they are undermining our democracy, which is really bad. So this all leads to the 10 days of darkness. Okay, is that for real? Okay, let's say within the next 365 days, will we see 10 days of darkness? Because, okay, these things come in chapters. That's how they should come. That's how they do present themselves on the earth. So like Adolf Hitler, for instance, and I don't think you're supposed to talk about him on, but he is a form of the Antichrist. He's not the Antichrist, but he's a predecessor of the Antichrist. Okay, and so in terms of 10 days of darkness coming, first you would have the largest Facebook blackout in history. Okay, and that's like a shot over the bow. And then later you would finally have much larger, much more serious events. No water for 10 days, all public services, electricity cut off for 10 days, no gasoline, all the lines of distribution shut down. That's what 10 days of darkness is. So is this coming within the next 1 year, as people are talking about? 10 spades, 8 diamonds, and that 10 hearts is very interesting. We have a couple of 10s, which is interesting. 10s are completion. Here we have 10 hearts. 10 hearts is just way too emotional. I don't know how Meghan Markle showed up in this reading, but she did with the 10 hearts. So this suggests that it's kind of overblown. People are just kind of too emotional about it. Let's read the spread. 10 spades, 8 diamonds, 6 hearts. A disaster for everything material, lights, heat. Okay, if this happened in the winter, all the heat would be shut off. A lot of people would freeze. Old people would freeze. We would, they'd be finding people for, the next 6 months to a year, they'd be finding people who froze to death in their homes, and they would only know because there's a terrible smell coming out of the house, and the neighbors are reporting a terrible smell. And, people are calling their 80-year-old grandmother, and they're not getting an answer anymore. 18 and 6, 24. 6 spades, 10 spades. So on the surface, everything that we're used to could be shut down. That's what this is saying. Everything that we're used to could be shut down. What do we have here? Straight razor and high tower. A cut of the government services, but it's very highly emotionalized. 9 diamonds and 6 spades. 9 diamonds could happen very fast, very suddenly. A sudden cutoff of all public services, and a very bad situation for the people. 18, 28, 34, 35, 9 clubs again. I think it's a little overblown. I don't think this is going to happen. A lot of dominoes would have to fall. Let's use the sticks here. Let's back up and use the sticks. Get a better read on this. That's yes. That's no. Yes and no. Are we going to have a 10 days of darkness in the next year? Yes or no? Are we going to have a complete shutdown of all public services in the next year? Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou among women. Blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus. Holy Mary, Mother of God, pray for me a sinner, now at the hour of my death. I'm getting sort of a very tentative, yes, it's possible, but it's not happening. So I don't know if you can't see that. The sticks are kind of coming together like, yeah, it's possible. I don't think it's going to happen. It's possible, but I'm not getting a yes. So I think it's kind of overblown. It can happen. It will happen. I think the sticks are saying it will happen at some point, but probably not in the next year. So that's interesting. I love apocalypse stuff. So what's going on? People could not communicate with their loved ones. You know, these are relationships that we're having online, and that's nice. And people started using other platforms. Whistleblower and Zuckerberg is really upset, and he's doing very bad things that he doesn't want exposed. Okay, that is a big takeaway. Zuckerberg is doing things that he doesn't want anyone to find out about. Okay, and that's kind of really a big deal. Will the government finally start taking steps to regulate all of these social media companies, which are really out of control? They're too powerful, and they're too. They also need to antitrust them. We also had an antitrust division in my federal agency. I worked 5 federal agencies, so one of them, the last one I worked at, was a regulatory agency, and we had an antitrust division there, and they break up huge monopolies. Facebook is a huge monopoly. It's safe to say all of these social media companies are huge unregulated monopolies, and they need some oversight. They need more oversight than they're getting. 10 Days of Darkness, right now it's a little bit overblown, but it is definitely possible. And I think something like that will happen further along in the future, not 1 year out. That's how I see it. I'm Joseph Magi, author of Playing Card Divination Fortune Telling, The Magi Method. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and comment.